So this is my project for February into March 2022. It's this tire balancing tool that I'm repurposing to become a lathe for cutting down or widening wheels or inserting new centers into the rims. And the idea was that you could mount the wheel completely on the spindle, and here we have all the little pieces that go with it. Now this is the rally wheel that I've got that actually has the right profile for the project that I'm working on. It has the steps in the rim that are similar to that of a 15x7 Magnum 500 or a 450 wheel that Chrysler used. All of these wheels were manufactured by the Motor Wheel Corporation of Lansing, Michigan. And you know, a lot of people get bent out of shape with people using Magnum 500s on Dodges, when in reality they were all made by the same company. So you know, you can use your Ford wheel on a Dodge car, even though it says Ford on the inside lip. It's only put there as a marker for the parts department for Ford. I had a set of 15x7 Magnum 500s on my 68 Charger at one time, and they came off Boss 302, so I thought they looked pretty good. I put the right center caps on them. They look like a Dodge wheel. So anyway, this is a Oldsmobile rally wheel that I picked up. I bought the pair. I bought two of them for $100, and the reason I bought them is because they have that lip right there that looks like a 450 wheel. So it's 15x7, 7 inches wide. It's the perfect profile for a Magnum 500. So I'll be taking the center out of this, and how I'm going to do that is by mounting it on this machine. And what I'll do is when it's spinning, I'll have a cutter on the inside like a die grinder, and it's spinning, and I'll cut the weld right there that joins the outer rim to the inner. So it's not really all that difficult. A lot of people do this kind of stuff on a bench. I figured it was a lot easier to just go ahead and cut this with a lathe. And since you can't really find a lathe big enough to mount this kind of wheel, it seemed to make sense to me to repurpose this tire balancing machine. So the hard part was finding a tire balancing machine that nobody wanted, and that could be picked up for a reasonable price, and could be repurposed for a relatively small amount. The problem being with this particular style of machine that it was actually built to operate by computer, and it had a program in it for balancing, and it also had a calibration program and a lot of other neat features. And this is what remains of the entire computer portion of it, which is nothing but a bunch of relays, but the actual computer is now in that garbage can. I think it's actually this motherboard right here, and as you can see, it had all sorts of interesting push buttons and gizmos on it, and that's all going right there. That's where that belongs now. So what it's going to be is I took the motor out. I thought I could maybe use the motor again, but the motor had all sorts of interesting wiring on it that didn't really suit my needs, and it also had a pretty small shaft on it. This is only like a 1/2 inch shaft. So I wanted something a bit more rugged. This is a 3/4 horse motor as well. Oh, sorry, half horsepower. A 1/2 horsepower motor. I wanted something that would spin that wheel without issues. So I got myself a 1 horsepower motor, from Princess Auto, which is the same as Harbor Freight down in the States. And this is it here. It's pretty good looking. It was a bit more money than I wanted to spend. It wasn't that much, but you know, when you're poor, every bit of money is a lot. So, and then I bought this here Gearbox, which is a 60-to-1 reduction. So this spins at a bit more than 1700 RPM, 1755, and a 60-to-1 down is roughly 30 revolutions per minute, which is pretty good. That's one revolution every 2 seconds. So that's not too awful bad. But when I put the shaft through this and have the pulley on the bottom, it's going to be a 3-inch pulley. There's some interesting websites you can go on and compute ratios of reduction with different pulley sizes. So I'm going to use the pulley that came on the machine over there, right there, and it's a 9.5-inch pulley. With a 3-inch, it actually works down to 10-to-1. So this is going to actually spin at 3 revolutions per minute by the time it's finished, and that's pretty much exactly what I wanted to have for cutting the rim. Because it's not going to spin too fast that it'll get out of shape and run away on you. The other thing that I was going to do with this particular machine was to mount wheels and tires and have a jig set up in front of the wheel and have start doing pinstriping on tires with a bugler pinstriping gun, and using tire paint you can make red line tires. So this is something I've been talking about for, I can't remember how long, decades perhaps. And after seeing the Diamond whatever they are, Diamondback Classics that Coker's tires sell, well, they're just a repurposed BF Goodrich Radial TA, and they have a line on them. So somebody in their infinite wisdom decided that it was going to be fairly easy for them to produce something like that, so they go ahead and do it. I think if they can do it, I can do it. So, too easy. Here's the upper portion, the spinning portion. It's got a multi-groove belt, a poly groove belt as they refer to it. So I have to order a lower pulley. That's ridiculous money. It's like 150 bucks. It's ridiculous for a 3-inch pulley. 150 bucks for 10 grooves, plus shipping. And I'm likely going to see some currency exchange as well. That's almost as much as the motor or the gearbox. That's ridiculous. Anyway, so that's all I need. I got the shaft coming and the keyways, locks. So right now I just figured out the size of the platform that I need inside of here, and I have some metal cut to build the platform, which I will bolt on the inside of this. And then I'll just figure out the height that I need to have the proper tension on the belt, and it's going to work pretty good. I think it's going to work great. I hope to have it completed shortly. Now I set this up to weld it, and so there's my welder. It turns out it's too cold. The gas wouldn't flow out of the regulator, which is what you'd expect at -10 or whatever it is right now. And that's plenty okay, so I'm just going to wait until it warms up. That, and I know that the tank is just about empty. I figured I'd probably get a couple of minutes of welding out of it, but as it turns out, there's no go on this tank at all. So I'm just going to wait until it's warm. I'll try it again. If the pressure comes up, I'll get that welded, and if it doesn't, I'll just take the tank back and get a new tank. And that'll be the end of that. And then I will rig up the platform it needs to mount the motor, and hopefully by that time the shaft will have arrived, and it's supposed to be here by March 1st, and today's the 27th, I think.